This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, John, tell us about your MS
Yeah,
walk.
so I did my first MS walk, and it was 41 degrees and blustery cold. The wind was 15 miles an hour sustained with gusts up into the 20s. So I'm all dressed warm. Melissa's all dressed warm, but none of my friends that live in Grand Rapids dressed warm. I don't know. But
People in Grand Rapids.
so we
I
all
know that's
know,
where my dad grew up, so I get it.
right, right. But they did it on a college campus, and it was a beautiful walk. Honestly, lots of hills, but like not really like inclined, just more like gradual. You're not going to tip over or go too fast. Um, there may have been 200 people there,
That's
which was
great.
nice, and 17 of them were mine.
Yes.
So I had a
How
good group of
fun.
friends come out. Um, some people that I haven't seen since 2016, which is just
Wow.
really nice to catch up with them. Um, and of course, we all know how grain of salt we all take stuff from my mother with. So my Melissa said like Thursday night, your mom wants to know if she should surprise you or let you know that she's coming to the MS walk. So of course my answer was, don't fucking surprise me. Sorry, F bomb. Don't just show up because that will be so much added stress. So I said, Mom, yeah, come on down. She said, well, I've got the nephews and we made some art projects for you. I was like, alrighty, sounds good. So they were there. Everything was fine. Mom bought lunch for the crew.
Nice.
My nephew Ben, who's 10 now, said, Uncle John, can I push you for a while? I said, yeah. And he like pushed me for half of it.
Nice.
He just really wanted to see what it was like. And of course, I had to slow down a couple of times and I had to help him steer. So we have a tight corner here with a bump. Um, so you push down a little bit on the handles, and that will pop me up, and then we went. Um, the
He
the
probably
only
doesn't weigh very much either, trying to push down on the
Yeah,
handles, right?
yeah, but he did great. A friend came that I forgot that he was a transporter for like 6 years. So he's just like, okay, this hill is too steep for your nephew to push you down. So I'm going to help, and you're going to help with your brakes, John. It's like, yeah, we made it. Um, it would have been a good ramp just to let go and go down because it went
Right.
over pretty like a wooden bridge with like a wooden top. You know what I mean? Like it's just a really pretty bridge over a creek. But then if I didn't turn right away, would have been off road. So the experience was overall good. Um, they had donuts for everyone at the end, and they were just Krispy Kreme donuts. And we all know how much sorry, there weren't Tim Hortons there, Carmen.
I
We
know.
didn't, we didn't have any
You missed
double
out.
doubles for Tim's. We're so sorry.
You missed
But
out.
it was really fun. It was nice. They had loud music going that I was singing to because I can't help myself. The only down part was the this event was debuting some new things in the booths area. I didn't get a chance to see as much as I wanted to, but that's just every time you go to an event, you never get to see everything that you wanted to. And there was a Symposia booth. So I thought I'd roll up and just say, hey, I used to. And I rolled up, and the guy came from behind the booth and said, John, you don't know me, but I know you from your videos. Right in front of my wife, my mom, my friends. Melissa leaned over and said, like, of course. Of course this happens to you. So it was good. I plan on doing more. We have finally discovered that an accessible hotel room It doesn't mean that, and everyone's always told me that. We had to bring a seat riser for the toilet, and that went fine. Um, but also, a lot of bathrooms are right-handed. I know this seems weird, but they're right-handed. I'm left-handed, so I didn't have anything to really push down on to pull myself up, if that makes any sense. Um, but it worked. It happened. Everything was fine. All's well. I sat in my chair for quite a while. The bed was amazing, though. Um, but overall, it went better than the last hotel. If you remember, right before Christmas, it went a lot better than that. Good experience. Can't wait to do more. Thursday, I've got Community Action Day here for Michigan, and I'm excited to do that. This will be my, I think, fourth year in a row. And the lady's name is Kathy, I think. She's the head of the MS in Michigan, kind of that kind of group. The manager, I guess. Um, but I saw her at the walk. She's like, "Oh, John, don't worry. I'll see you on Community Action Day." Again, like getting recognized in a crowd is honestly one of my favorite things. I mean, it's just the ego. I need that ego boost. I feed off that, and also it was cool. Really opened my eyes up to the community more.
Note to self:
Did
if I see
anybody
you in
ask you to
public,
sign their T-shirt?
I did sign some people's like back tags, but they're related to me, so you know. So yeah, it was good. Um, Definitely want to do more next year. My entire PT place was like, we dropped the ball. We're gonna get together. We're gonna go walk with you. And I was like, well, just show up tomorrow. It's like half a mile away from here. Come on out. My case manager for insurance came out with her husband.
Wow.
That was cool. Um, and we bragged her up so much.
Well,
Like,
congratulations, John. If you want to walk in Frankenmuth, our team is walking on the 11th of May. If you're feeling like going to hang with a bunch of Germans in Frankenmuth,
I grew up in Saginaw,
you know that.
so I know all about Frankenmuth.
Yeah, but that's awesome. I was muted because I have the washing machine on and it's super loud. But now
Sure.
I have to go because you talked about advocacy and we have an advocacy meeting at 2:00. So, yeah. Well, have a great meeting. Good to see you all.
great
Hi,
seeing you, Jen.
Jennifer.
Take care,
Thank you.
Jen.
Hi,
See
Jen.
ya.
So note to self: if you see John in the wild, make sure you yell at his name and
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
call him out.
And what videos are you talking about? I haven't seen these videos, John.
Oh, they're like my story videos for Bristol Myers Squibb. And the
Oh,
guy had worked there for a couple years. Like, if he would have said his name and said like what he had done, he could have been someone that interviewed me or something like that. So I would just tell my story about, my MS story basically, and then I would be broadcast, and some of them would be recorded, and I've actually been on Facebook and Instagram.
Can you put
famous
some
dude.
links into the chat for?
I'll see what I can find. If not, definitely you, Kim.
Okay.
So this is sort of the same thing that Hannah does for Okraverse, except that you're doing it with videos rather than traveling to places.
Yeah, because the medicine was launched June of 2020, so like the beginning of COVID. So their program, they didn't have the ability to put the face-to-face programs, so they just did over video for so long. And the company that I worked for was like in association with Bristol Myers Squibb, like took care of their
Mhm.
advertising for this. And the place has moved on, and so now I work directly for BMS, and they're up in the air about what should we do, what should we do. So I talk about once a
You get
month, like,
that
hey,
job?
what's that?
How did you get that job?
Um, because I'm me,
Okay.
somehow. So my friends have asked me to write a memoir of all just the weird and lucky stuff that happens to me because they call me Johnny Gump. When I first switched over to Zaposia, I had a nurse navigator, right?
Mhm.
And after like a year of just, the monthly check ins and whatever, she's like, John, I think you can talk in front of a group of people. I was like, I can and I have. She said, well, we're starting this program about outreach. Are you interested? Yes. And then so I did a bunch of interviews with people there and make sure that I was up to the like the FDA standards of what I was saying, and I couldn't name any other medicine stuff like that. And then it
Very
happened.
cool.
Yeah.
I think my birthday lunch is arriving, so it's time for me to go.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank
Oh, is
you.
your birthday today?
Today's my birthday.
Oh, happy
AnCan.
B-Day.
Thank you.
Oh, how nice.
What's for
How are you
lunch?
celebrating it other than lunch?
That's mainly it. My friend is bringing over some fish tacos. Yummy.
Enjoy.
Okay, you didn't get a birthday card from the dog?
It's his birthday too. He got a toy that's pretty much spread across the floor right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I didn't know exactly when his birthday was, but he was about 14 weeks old when I got him, and I got him on the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
So I counted back and it was close enough. We celebrate on the same day.
Oh, okay. 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 All right.
Have a good birthday.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Hi,
Enjoy.
Andrea.
I have to say,
I'm gonna call Mike Pettipool. I just want to tell you before I call him. Um, so I saw him last Wednesday. He set up a meeting with a lady who makes film documentaries, and she's just released a new documentary called Final Fight, which is on PTSD. Um, it's a pretty powerful documentary, and we're working with her to try and get it shown in certain places and with our vets, and we may even be able, through contacts we have, to get it into the VA, which would be fantastic. Um, and so I saw him on Wednesday. Probably hadn't seen him since his birthday, which was, can't remember when, in early March, I think, or February. Boy, I was really pretty shocked. I mean, he's just shuffling along and not great. It was in the coffee shop, and as I walked in, he was sort of heading towards me with a cup in one hand, a stick in the other, and everything was spilling. So I grabbed that, and but his his mobility is really getting compromised. So anyway, I don't know what Vicky's. I, I I spoke to Vicky afterwards. I called her up, and then I was supposed to go to an event that they were at the weekend. I actually did go to the event. Vicky had an extra ticket. Um, and I asked Mike, and he said he wasn't going because it was one of these food events with all the different booths from everywhere, and you get your food. And he said he didn't want to be carrying stuff, so he just decided not to go. So I don't know. It's it's distressing, and I also feel for Vicky as well. So anyway, I'm just going to go on mute for a second because I'm going to call him and see if I can get him into the group.
I
Corey, is that you?
Hey, Corey, sorry I haven't texted you back. It's just things fall
Yeah,
through
I'm
sometimes.
trying to talk. I don't know if you can hear me.
We
We can
can.
hear you now.
Yeah, I got canceled from work today. It was raining, so the asphalt plant shut down. So I got off, and so I thought, man, I forgot about that meeting was today. So I figured I'd go ahead and jump on real quick.
Corey, I was actually supposed to be at PT right now, but our car broke down. It's in the shop, so that's the
Oh,
only reason
geez.
why I can make this meeting. And Corey, I'm sorry that I've let you slip through the cracks. I'm going to shoot you a text back, all right, bud?
Well, I
Apologies.
appreciate it. I just didn't know if I sent it to the wrong person or not, or the right phone number or what.
I got you, bud.
Corey, I
I
wanted
was,
to ask you too, did you get the email that I sent with the chat, the chat dialogue or whatever it was at from our last meeting?
I did not.
Okay, I have to find that again. I got it already and I thought I sent it, but I couldn't see it in my sent folder, so apologies for that.
Hey, no problem. And my email was on there. I don't know if you got it or not.
Do you mind putting it in the chat again for me and then I can send it?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thanks.
Corey, how's it been since you've returned back to work? I'm thinking
It's
about you.
been busy. It's been busy.
well, I have to go back to high school tomorrow.
You have to what?
Go
Reunion
back.
or something else?
I have to go back to high school tomorrow.
Big difference
And
in the
do
size of
what?
the body.
Go to 3 government classes tomorrow.
Ooh,
Is this part of the requirement
okay.
of being a councilman or?
Well, it's not part of it, but that's what I'm using it for. I'm trying to get the kids involved in some stuff.
Oh, okay.
Some of the juniors and seniors, I want them to come to the city council meetings and have a lot to say.
Cool.
So do we have to start calling you Professor?
If you
Not on the
do,
high
you're wrong.
school level.
If you do, you're making a mistake.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's much a mistake. We all think we all think you're very professorial, Frank.
Well, the interesting thing about it is, I mean, that's where I went to high school. It
Yeah.
just so happens that the librarian is my classmate. So I mean, she's not a youngster either. Okay, and she's a librarian in the high school. She's the first girl I ever went on a date with.
Oh,
So anyway,
Ooh.
a hard time in government class, I'm going to say, hey, you know, she'll take care of you.
oh, that's that's funny. That's funny.
Looks like
So
we have someone else joined here, but we don't have a name.
He's
I
waiting
think
for her.
it might be Mr. Pettipool. Is that you, Mr. Pettipool? I think
Question: am I allowed to ask how someone's doing if I haven't seen them in a while?
of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
how's Karen doing? Is Karen doing okay?
Karen is doing fine. I reached out to
Okay.
her after the last meeting to find out, and she has been showing up quite regularly on the art class. But it's not exactly clear why she isn't coming here. But she said thank you for asking, and she'll be seeing you. But she is definitely okay. And funnily enough, I was just talking about just recently with this morning with Alexa, because maybe we'll get her scheduled for that long delayed solo arts heel performance. So we're talking, but we haven't told her yet. But
You
we
might find
know
out
that.
from this recording.
Oh, that's right. Yes, she'll find out from the recording. Well, it depends, but the guy who's been producing the recording is may not be producing, so we will switch recordings and then look forward to hearing her sing for us and tell stories. So, so there you go. And Mr. P, you didn't hear, but your buddy Frank is going to be teaching high school this week.
Oh, congratulations, Frank. You have a promotion.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing they'll even let me in the door.
Desperate time calls for desperate measures.
I could say a lot of things, Frank, but I don't want to disrespect your students. That's great. How old are these high school folks?
How how what?
How old are they?
They're
Or young?
juniors and seniors,
Okay.
and so
How big
they're
are the
almost adults.
classes? How big are the classes in your hometown for juniors and seniors?
About 20 in each class.
Okay, so like 20 in each classroom or 20 for the entire class of
Now there'll be
juniors.
20 in each class.
Okay.
And you're teaching? I thought you were going to a class, but you're
Well,
teaching?
it's a government class, and the government teacher is talking to me about local government issues. So I've got the whole hour to talk about local government issues
Good.
3 times. So, and I'm not happy with our local government on some issues. So it'll kind of be interesting.
Can I go?
Sure. More the merrier.
Oh
You're
boy.
still a rebel, Frank.
Say what?
You are still a rebel, causing trouble.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to get the kids to do. You know,
Good for you.
I can honestly look at the kids and say, look, I grew up in the 60s. I know how to be a rebel. I mean, come on, we had this thing called Vietnam going on and everybody was fighting about it. And yeah, I know how to get people fired up. Now, I was a pretty conservative dude, but I know how.
I like it the fact that you're trying to get young people involved and change or make them feel like they can be a part of it.
Gotta have it. We gotta have it everywhere.
So I have an update.
Yes.
Um, so you guys know that I've been on Ocrevus, and I think I may have talked about this at one point that I actually got onto it in 2017 before it was even approved in Canada. So I was on a trial, and it hasn't really stopped progression for me, sadly. And I've been in touch with my neurologist was encouraging me about a new study that was coming up. And so in January, I was kind of contemplating, do I do my next dose of Ocrevus or not? What's going on? There was no approval for the study yet, et cetera. So I just heard from the study nurse last week, and she called like Friday night at 7 o'clock, but I have it labeled and it came up UBC study nurse. And I thought, well, that's kind of strange. Like, this is late, but I'm going to answer it. So here it's this lovely nurse that thinks she's met me. I don't remember meeting her, but I remember talking with her and I recognize her voice. But we had this long conversation, and I said, well, like, do you guys work late like this? Like, are you doing the evening shift? And she said, no, I've been here since 8, but we just want to make sure that we get a few people contacted that this study is now approved. So the the University of British Columbia was taking its sweet time. Their ethics board took its sweet time for approval, and we it, the study was filling up. So there's 990 participants being taken for a BTK inhibitor. So I can't remember what BTK stands for. I have to have it in front of me to say it. But anyway, this medication, they finally did the approval, and they had thought that there was still 30 spots left. But when they did get approval, there was only 10 spots left, which is why she was calling so late, because they were worried that it was going to be filled. And this is worldwide. So anyway, I said yes. Okay, I'm interested. I'm not eager to be traveling back and forth to Vancouver because it's a 4.5, 5 hour
Yeah.
drive, depending on the weather and traffic. And I said it's going to really depend on what kind of expectations are involved in the trial. So she said, I'll send you the informed consent. You can take a look and I will follow up with you next week. I'm not back till Thursday, but you've got my personal email or my personal cell number in there. Please get in touch with me. So I take a look at the informed consent, and I was worried because it's an actual study, so placebo and intervention, and I wasn't super eager about it because it's a 4 year long study, and I didn't want to be stuck on a placebo for 4 years. So in reviewing the informed consent, I actually saw that if progression is happening, you'd be switched to open label. So they'd open up because it's a double blind study, so even the nurses and doctors don't know. So if you are progressing, the study doctor can switch you to open label. So that was an encouraging thing. And then I found out, it's every 3 months is when I have to go to Vancouver. So like for 4 years, every 3 months, it's a major commitment, especially because it's a high mountain highway and winter travel is not recommended at least one out of those 4 times a year, if not sometimes twice. So I was very clear with the study nurse. I just said, look at like this is a major commitment and things are a lot different than when I first started the study. I mean, I was working full time and going back and forth to Vancouver, back and forth, like totally traveling independently. And there's no way that I can do that now. And she said, yes, we realize that, with primary progressive MS, like we have to make accommodations for you guys because if we don't, we're not going to have anybody participating in these studies. And she's just such an awesome advocate. So anyway, I read over this information, found out all this information, but also then learned that they've actually built in part of the informed consent, which has never been present before, but because of COVID, like so many things did change in a positive way for COVID, like video consults with your doctor, etc. They've built in case a study visit cannot happen due to provincial health regulations or whatever is happening, that there is criteria for how they're going to handle that. So I said, okay, well, at least there's some hope in case I can't make one of those 4 study visits that I won't be like kicked out of the study, whatever. So I said, okay, I'm interested. So I sent her a text and she called me back and here she is. She's up north at her sister's memorial service. Her sister passed away 5 weeks from diagnosis to time of death with cancer. They don't even know what the primary location was. But anyway, here she is, like caring so much about some of us. So there's another person that's nearby, another city about an hour and a half away, and myself, and maybe someone else, I'm not sure. But she said, I'm so happy to hear from you that you're interested in pursuing this. And I said, like, put me down, like, get me a spot. I can always withdraw after. Like, I mean, I know how these things work.
Yeah.
Not that I would lightly go into something, but I said, yes, please sign me up. So anyway, she just called me yesterday and she said, Carmen, I was just sick all weekend because I thought we're going to miss out. Like, we're not going to get any people into this study because it's going to fill. And sure enough, the study was going to close because they had enough participants. So she said, I actually called the sponsors and I said, look it, we have a couple of people that are perfect candidates for this trial. They've failed on Ocrevus, and actually I'm going to remind her that Ocrevus actually failed us, not we failed Ocrevus. But anyway,
Right on.
but she said I told them that like these patients are pretty much perfect for this study, and there's not much else going on for primary progressive MS, and you need to allow them in because it's practically their only hope. And so the study has extended its deadline to June 1st so that we can get in. So I have to be down in Vancouver May 30th to do my initial screening appointment, which, I mean, they've already screened me. They wouldn't be having me come down if I didn't qualify, but I have to officially go and probably have all the testing and all that stuff, and maybe an MRI that day. I'm not even sure. She wasn't sure. And then so at least I'll have my name officially on the list, and then I have to go back June 25th for the official, like, quote unquote, randomization. So I'm
Yeah.
starting my second study for MS.
Yeah. So, Carmen, a couple of things that we've seen. They don't like to do it, but sometimes if the trips that you're going in for are solely for bloods or tests, they may allow you to do it locally.
All the blood
So,
work will be done locally. I've always had that. Yeah, the blood work
right.
can be. It's all the testing, it's the neuro testing and all that
Oh,
stuff
the
that,
neurota, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Second question, who's the pharmaceutical company?
I don't know yet. I'm not sure. I'm supposed to
Would
get a
you let,
call today from the study nurses to just go over a little bit more details, so I'll probably find some of that out today.
yeah, if you'd let me know, I'd appreciate it. I have something else I want to say, but I don't want to digress from this topic because other people may have questions about BTK inhibitors. How do they work for MS? What's the concept?
To be honest, Rick, I haven't
Yeah.
even looked into it all fully.
Okay.
It's still a B cell targeting medication. It just
Okay.
works differently than Ocrevus. So it's a the BTK. It's some kind of uh, oh shit, I've lost the word. It's an
I'm just
enzyme.
looking. I'm just looking. It looks like it was
Yeah.
originally like a drug for cancer.
Yes, and it is used for cancer. It can be kind of hard on the liver, so it's going to be very intensive for blood work in the first 3 months, almost weekly,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
But all that I can do right here, and I've got like a clinic within 3 blocks of my house, basically.
So
Yeah. I
are
mean,
you saying BTK as in like boy, tennis,
It's Bruton's tyrosine
gay?
kinase protein.
Yeah, Bruton's tyrosine kinase inhibitor.
Yeah, which plays an important role in the development and maturation of B cells. B cells can produce autoantibodies that attack the body's own protective sheath around the nerves. If those B cells could be quieted, MS might be quieted as well. I have a problem when it says BTK. I always think of the BTK killer, the
Yes.
serial killer. Every
Yeah.
time that sounds
Oh,
so terrible. That's
because he's from Wichita, Kansas. And when she said BTK, that's the first thing I thought of: bind, torture, kill.
oh man.
I'm
us Americans, we're
yeah.
that's
I
what's ingrained into us. We say
I
BTK.
just want to say his name was Dennis. Okay, his name was Dennis.
So that's exciting for you. Will they? Is there any chance that they would reimburse you for flights if the weather
Oh,
is awful?
everything, all my
super.
travel gets reimbursed. Yes, everything is reimbursed. And they also,
Nice.
like, they'll organize accommodation, like there's on-site accommodation at the university, which is fine if you're mobile, but it's it's a residence and it's got a long walk, and it's not something I can do without like we brought a scooter, my little small scooter last time, but my husband is not well. Like, he can't haul our stuff and haul me around and all that. So he's really worried that we need like a handicap accessible vehicle, and I need a power chair to even go. And I'm like, okay, let's just settle down here. We just have to get there. Like, you just have to drop me at the front door. Like, we can stay at a hotel. We don't have to stay at the residence where we have to walk 9 miles. And so he's kind of the troubleshooter. Like, he's always the guy that figures out all the potential problems before we ever say yes to anything. And I'm the person that says, let's do it and we'll figure it all out as we go. So we're an interesting couple sometimes. But anyway, um, I'm
So,
I'm working on keeping him positive about it all.
so I have some good AnCan news for you, Miss Carmen.
What's
So
up?
a BTK inhibitor, um, one BTK inhibitor, I don't know if this is the one you're testing, is called ibrutinib.
Yeah, mine's a
And
T. Tolanit. Ah, again, I don't have my stuff in front of me. Sorry.
okay.
Oh, that's
And
Sanphony. Yeah, okay. Tolbrutinib. Yeah, they all have,
Tolibrutinib.
yeah, they have the same, that in the ending. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah,
I always forget how to pronounce this drug name.
Sanofi.
Sano. Sanofi. Yeah.
oh, it's a Sanofi drug. Okay.
That's what
So
this article is saying.
we've got several people in our blood cancer group who are on ibrutinib, and probably the other one too. And so I would say, come on in to the next blood cancer group, which will be on the 2nd of May,
Okay.
and they will be able to tell you, they will give you good feedback on these BTK inhibitors and probably what the side effects are, which will allow you to figure out to personally unblind the trial for yourself. If you have any of these side
Ah,
effects, that
right.
you'll be able to figure out if you're on it or you're not on it. But I
There you
hear
go.
them talking about, that's why I was trying to think, how do I know BTK inhibitors? It's from, because we got people with CLL and ALL in there, and they use I think they use they certainly use ibrutinib and probably the other one. So feel free. I'm inviting you right now. I'll try and remember to send you the invite when it comes out, the blood
Great.
cancer invite, and just come in. It's not in this room. It's in the Schmear room. It's in our other room.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe I'll have to
Uh,
get you to send me an invite. I'll send you an email if you don't. Okay.
right. And I'll try to remember. Um, but the instructions to get on the other room are in on the front on the website
Okay.
on the homepage of the website. But I'll send it to you. But yeah, I think it could be very helpful for you.
Great. Thank you. So
And
fingers
that's
crossed.
yeah.
I'm when I'm telling my family and friends about it, as I embark upon, telling them about it, I'm just saying, okay, positive energy and vibes and prayers and whatever else you want to send for me to get the intervention. That's the energy that we're sending out to the world now.
So question: would these BTK inhibitor trials be helpful for any other of our MS peeps that come to this meeting all the time?
I think there are already a number of different trials going on. Like there's a few different drug companies that are working on these medications. There's just so few for primary progressive. That's the problem. Like there's a couple other ones, and I just did a quick scan. I saw there's a couple different ones for relapsing remitting that are already in action, but it's the primary progressive. It's the age-old story that, the PP people haven't gotten much attention, but that's starting to shift a little bit, I think, because there's so many medications for relapsing remitting now that they're, finally starting to explore more for primary.
Progressive. Mike, are you primary progressive or are you secondary progressive? I can't remember. Secondary.
Secondary, secondary progressive. Yeah.
I think it's
So
Jen and myself. I think Jen and I are the only ones that are primary.
What about Karen?
I think she's secondary,
I think
Okay,
she's
but I'm not
secondary.
100% sure.
I never know.
I
can
think she's
you
secondary.
can you tell me the difference between primary and secondary?
Yeah, primary progressive is it's just always happening where with like they compare like there's two types. There's the relapsing remitting, which is you have an exacerbation and
Yeah.
then a recovery period which you may or may not fully recover from, and then you have another exacerbation. Whereas primary progressive, it's just always happening. So when I was describing my symptoms from the very beginning, I said it was kind of insidious. Like I had this little bit of numbness in my right foot, and then I had more
Mm.
numbness, and then I had a foot slap that I didn't know what was going on, and I had no idea that that was because I had foot drop already, and that's years before my diagnosis. But anyway, so then if relapsing remitting, if you aren't medicated, like my mom and my sister, you become then secondary progressive. So it just kind of moves into that more inflammatory, I guess. I don't have the right words to describe it, but it just becomes more of a ongoing progression.
If
I guess,
Rick,
go
if I
ahead,
could,
John.
um, so with remitting, you gain some stuff back while you're resting. With secondary progressive, there's no recovery. So it goes here, down, where primary is
Right.
just down.
Oh, I see.
Exactly.
That's how it's
So
always been explained to me.
I guess my question is whether these BTK inhibitors would work for secondary progressive as well as primary progressive. Don't know.
The problem with studies, and this is the other thing, like this is kind of my last kick at the can. Study ages are often 59 is the highest that I've seen. 55 is often the cutoff, and I'm
Yeah,
right at that cutoff now. So like this is my last kick at the can, and that's I mean that's what my husband and I have talked about. Like this is kind of it, you know. Chances are there aren't going to be well, maybe there might be another study for primary progressive that comes along, but I need to seize the day on anything because, and this is what the nurse kind of told me too. Like I said, yeah, I'm not really eager for another study that I have to go back and forth to Vancouver. And also the chance of getting placebo. So she said, well, Carmen, you're on Ocrevus and it's not doing anything. And in other words, basically, like, what's the difference? If you're on Ocrevus and not doing anything, being on placebo and it's not doing anything, that's no different. But until I
yeah.
read in the informed consent that they would actually switch you to the medication if you're progressing, that was the clincher right there for me. If that
That's
hadn't been in
cool.
there, I don't know that I would actually be quite so eager. I wouldn't be so eager.
So the trial technical term for that, you know what that is, Carmen?
Hmm?
Crossover.
Mm.
That's what they call in trial language. That's what they call crossover.
Meaning, like, if you switch from placebo
One
to
drug to
intervention?
another. Yeah.
Ah,
When they
That's
switch
right.
you
yeah,
out to
right.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if you hear somebody talking about crossover in a trial, it means they'll take you off the placebo and they'll move you into the active arm.
And
So
are all placebo studies done like that? Do you know? Like,
no,
I
I've
don't.
heard
no,
of studies where if everyone's doing really well on the drug, they'll switch everyone from placebo to
yeah,
the actual drug.
Mhm.
Or
yeah,
I mean, they do have a conscience, conscience.
Well, like they have an ethical
Everything for science.
responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's right. Now you see, we've also had another issue recently, not with MS, but in a prostate cancer trial that they're running right now, that Bayer's running right now, we refuse to support it because when they sent us out the protocol, the control arm was not standard of care. And
Oh.
we went back and we said, you can't do this because these people that they're at least entitled to standard of care in the control arm. And it was very late. And so I think they actually made some changes to the trial. But one of the things they did is they made the trial, rather than a clinicaltrials.gov trial for everywhere, they put it into just certain places, certain institutions, like Hopkins in this case. And then we caught them offering this trial to one of our guys. And we said, they can't offer you this trial because you're not getting standard of care. Refuse the trial because you're at least entitled to standard of care.
Mhm.
So, I think I do think that you've got to stay on top of these damn drug companies because as much as I'm not like Karen with the drug companies. No, I'm not slating them left, right, and center. And I think they do good work. But I also think they try to get away with what they can get away with, which I'm not very happy about. And if we catch them trying to do that, we'll stand up and say, you can't do it. It's just wrong.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So,
that was frustrating with the drug trials and not just MS drugs, but drugs in general, where they're like, we're gonna do this drug, new drug versus a placebo, and it's like, or we'll do this drug with what we consider an inferior drug in this class. It's like, no, do it against like the go-to gold standard. Don't do it against
right,
placebo or an inferior drug in the class. Like,
right,
so you didn't get a good view, like, well,
Hmm.
okay, it's
right.
better than placebo, but how is it better than this drug that's the gold standard right now? So that was frustrating. Like, put it against a drug
Right.
Hmm.
that's like you wouldn't do a drug like study right now on an MS drug with like Rebif that's really old. You would do a more up to date
Yeah.
drug, So,
Well, and
so
it's
yeah,
interesting you say standard of care too, because I heard her say that a couple of times. Like Ocrevus is standard of care for primary progressive, but we know that it's only modestly effective for a very small
Successful.
group.
Yeah. 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 I mean, the other thing we catch them doing and we've objected to is setting up the trials for very narrow approvals, or what we call manipulated approvals. So, for example, um, they are they approved a drug in prostate cancer based on you being non-metastatic, meaning that the disease had not spread anywhere. But the definition of non-metastatic was based on very old screening technology that couldn't see like 20-year-old screening, and we have new screening technology that can see that metastasis, but it won't see it if you use the old stuff. And they got it approved on that basis. And it's just wrong because non-metastatic is just really not a real category. Not
Hmm.
now that we have the technology today, but they got it through. And once they get it FDA approved, even if it's narrow, it gives the opportunity to use the drug off label. Some doctors are better than other doctors at getting it approved, even though you're not supposed to get it approved. So, there's so much manipulation that goes on in these trials. So, just saying, just saying.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm glad you were able to get into the trial, Carmen, and
fantastic. Yeah, I
best
am.
luck and
I'm
wishes to you. I think it was a great decision with what you were able to do. Like as you said, primary progressive, there's not a lot of options out there, and the one option you are doing is not helping you. So
Yeah.
I think
Right.
it's
And you
awesome that
guys,
you're
I'm
doing,
also, yeah. Oh, sorry.
that the fact that you're doing the cutting edge, the next thing. I think that's amazing. And then if it's not good or don't like it, then you get switched out or you end the trial, and it's just I'm 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 excited for you, and I hope you it works for you and helps you. And that gal that you talked about, wow, what an advocate! Like
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. You
she
guys,
sounds absolutely
seriously.
phenomenal.
She called me yesterday and I happened to just finally be outside in the sunshine on my scooter. And she called and she said, "Have you got a few minutes to talk?" I said, "You know what, Nancy? I'm sitting outside in the sunshine on my scooter. I definitely have time to chat with you." And we had such a good talk. And I don't know if it's because, like, she knows I'm a nurse and we'd had such a conversation while she was up north with her family in this memorial. Like, she'd just had her memorial service when I talked with her, and so we talked a little bit more about that, and like, just that she would take the time and be so caring about someone maybe she's met once, maybe not, but just about clients, and in her care, I just was so blown away, and we just had such a lovely chat, and I sent her a text afterward and just said thank you for being such an amazing advocate. She's like, my angel right now.
Would you do us a favor? Would you let her know about this group, because she may have other patients she deals with, and she's also very welcome to come in and listen to the group herself. But
Yep,
would you please tell her that we're doing this and that the group is here, because
sure.
she's the sort of person that I think would spread the word.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and interestingly, I did tell her, please tell the study team that I won't be answering the phone between 10 and 12 because I'm actually the backup moderator for the first time for an MS group that I'm in. And she wrote back, "Oh, you're going to be so great." And so it was kind of funny, but I will for sure, Rick.
Thank you. No, I really, really appreciate. I'm just looking. I'm on clinicaltrials.gov, and I'm just looking to see what um, what BTK trials are on, and if they're running these in the US, and where else they're
Well, this is
where else they're
worldwide.
running.
Like if you ever see the one, I think it's Perseus is the name.
Okay.
There's 990, but now that number is going to change. So when you see that number saying 993, I'm one of those three, or whatever the number ends up being. I don't know.
Yes. Yes. We love it.
Hmm.
We love it. I mean, we've got several people in trials right now. In fact, we just in the last month we've put hopefully 4 guys in. 3 have been accepted, and one of them, and they're just about to close. It's a phase 1, phase 2 arm. I'm assuming this is a phase 3 arm that
Yeah.
you're in. Yeah, this is a phase 1, phase 2 arm trial, and there's only one arm opened, and it's about to close. And the drug was just bought by Novartis, and we were working with the drug developer, which is a small company called Arvinas, Arvinas, and we were actually going to do a webinar and do a lot more promotion with them. I have a meeting with Novartis later this week to see what we're going to do, but we do a fair amount in our cancer groups with trials. So and
Well, I just know also that if you like, if I've felt this from the beginning when I first got involved with clinical trials, and this was right after diagnosis. I mean, we met a student that very first day asking if they could take our contact information, my contact information. I said, yes, please. Like, I want to hear about anything. And I didn't hear anything from anyone. I kept track of what was going on, and I found the trial that I actually joined for the ocrelizumab.
oh wow,
Um,
good for
it
you.
wasn't someone contacting me. It was me calling and saying, I think I qualify for this drug. What's going on? And that's how it was initiated. So it just goes to show you, I think, Rick, the consistent message of advocating, like being your own advocate, is so
Yeah.
important. And
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I mean, I'm a
It,
nurse and I know about advocating, but even still, it's not easy when you're the patient. So,
Carmen,
so
thank you for being a guinea pig for us.
hmm
I
so
appreciate
I'm putting.
your open willingness to do that.
and that's something that I have
Sorry,
felt from the
John.
beginning. Because if we don't, like, th- there's no hope if we're not contributing our information, right? So, as much as I want to be a private person and keep my information to myself, I've had to get over that and just let it be because we can't help anyone else if we're keeping our information to ourselves. So,
Right.
So I just put a link in the chat window for everybody. It's to uh, an article in our blog on our website called "What's in a Clinical Trial," and it was written just recently, last month, by Dr. John Antonucci. I think John's been in this group. He's a retired addiction psychiatrist who worked most of his career at the VA. He's fantastic, and he He moderates our Men Speaking Freely group, which, John, you should come into the Men Speaking Freely group. I've got to make you would love that group. We got Mr. Pettipool into it briefly,
And
but it's that
that's
group
on,
is just up your street. Go ahead.
is it up? It's on Thursday evenings, right?
Yes, it's on the first and third Thursday.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately, I don't have those dates open.
uh,
Yeah,
anyway,
but yeah,
the John put together this what's in a clinical trial, and it reminds me that we should put it in all our reminders. In fact, I'm going to send a note to Kiernan to include it. But you might, that if you click on the website on the chat window, you click on it, it'll bring up John's article, and it's quite helpful. So if you want to understand more about the basics, the real basics of a clinical trial, he lays it out pretty well. And if you've got any questions, you can write to him at drjohn@ancan.org, dr.john@ancan.org, if you have
Okay,
questions
thank
about
you.
clinical trials.
I've
So,
Thank
forgotten.
you.
I've forgotten all the other stuff that's. I've had a busy couple of weeks. This Friday I have a neuropsych test, which I'm nervous about because I don't want to do poorly on it. But then again, like this doctor will be like, "Hey, we're pushing really hard. We need to take a couple more breaks," and it's their job to like do all the tests. So I'm just gonna get there, do what I can, have a great day.
Yeah, just
Good
realize
attitude.
that you will be mentally exhausted afterwards, and
Yeah,
that's just
yeah.
normal.
Like I'm
And
gonna,
and they'll do stuff, and you're like, that is just way over. Like you'll just get spent. And like that was too hard. Some
yeah.
places.
Don't give me like four shapes and then tell me to find the fifth.
Oh no, they'll do that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
The one
so I
that
remember the last one I had. It was like it was fine. I remember the cafeteria had terrible food, um, but I learned a valuable lesson at PT and OT 2 weeks ago, where when you stand up and you start walking and you have a stim unit on and you're making like 10 feet, and then your PT starts moving the goal further and further away. Just because you're feeling it does not mean you have to walk 34 feet and then spend the next 6 days recovering.
Yes.
So I got caught up in my
Go
new
hard or go
shoe.
home.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I did that. I did that. And then I did PT and OT. That was the first thing I did. Like, no
Yikes.
stretch or anything. I was a dumbass. I was a dumbass. But we had a really good talk last Friday about maybe you shouldn't let me do stuff like that. And it was a different PT than I normally work for. And she pushes really hard, really hard. And so now we've taken a step back. Like, all right, John, we need you to walk 10 feet over and over again. Because in your house, you are 20 feet away from whatever your next step is. So,
Hmm.
yeah, we bought back some stuff. And I'm sad that I'm not there today because my OT was going to do an edema massage on me. Get some of the liquids flowing because I have edema, but with the moving and all this stuff, and I also have a compression sleeve. That's helped quite a bit. So
Do you have one at home or do you just use it at PT?
I have one at home.
And have you found it useful? Because I've been considering one, John. I had some swelling just come up in the last couple weeks. That's been crazy.
So this is, imagine if you will, like it goes around your leg and then Velcro's on.
Yeah.
It's not a sock. It's like a device. I don't know. It was like 10
Like a
bucks on Amazon.
BP cuff,
Anyway,
basically.
what's that?
Like a BP cuff.
Yes. You know what? Absolutely. Yeah. So you put that on, tighten it on, and you would have to ask your doctor for like, how long should I do this for?
Yeah.
Uh, my OT is like, I don't want you wearing this at home because I don't want your feet getting too swollen if it's too tight on you. but we've had improvement. Trent even said, like, hey, why is this foot bigger than the other foot? It's always the opposite. What's going on? Movement,
Hmm.
stuff like that. Being able to get into bed a safer way than tucking and rolling. Getting out of bed with Melissa just having to move one of my legs so I can get it off the bed and then push up. So good things from that. But man, I wish I was there today getting a leg massage.
Hmm.
Also because it's one of my favorite places in the world.
I love it that you really self-advocated, John, when they pushed you too far, especially a PT that didn't know you. And this reinforces just how important it is to listen to your body because, yeah, you may be able to do it, but by pushing
Should
yourself,
you?
you may be
Hmm.
down multiple days to recover from it, which is very different than other states, you know.
Frank, you have a nice day, all right, Frank?
Good luck with your class.
Teaching school.
I could be
Uh,
the student. You never know.
Frank, will you send me
Yeah.
the what we discussed today up to now? That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you.
We'll get
I'd like to, oh look, we lost one and we gained one. Christy just came. Fantastic. Um,
Hi,
the
sorry
other
I'm
thing,
late.
don't worry. And the other thing is when Mike Pettipool comes back, John, I think he just did a neuro evaluation.
I've
Do
had
I?
one before, but it's been 4 years since I've had one.
I
And this
think
time
he
we're
did
going to
one.
one because I'm a little bit worried about my memory retention. My
Yeah,
short.
I think he just did one last month at Mayo in Phoenix. So when he comes back here, when he comes back to the camera, we'll get him to tell you about what his experience was. Do you have to travel far to do yours or not?
No, it's actually in the same building as my neurologist, so it's like 50 minutes away. We go down there all the time. We don't even need Google Maps anymore. We know on our way home because it's going to be busy, tired day. We know what Thai food restaurant we're going to stop and pick up dinner and
Very important.
drive it for the hour home. So in the styrofoam, it just really sits and thickens up, so it's even better.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you get too hungry. You don't have to pull out. You don't have to pull over and have a little snack along the way, or
It it, it's it just really shows strength and resistance. Like it just
Willpower.
yeah, willpower.
willpower.
All right,
Willpower.
I'm gonna
Christy,
find
how's
this
it
thing right now.
been since you've been discharged been back home?
Look, she's home.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, you live in a house.
Yeah, not a
Was
hospital.
it 32 days that you were in the hospital?
32.
Oh
Um,
my gosh,
it's
Christy.
been nice. We got the adjustable bed. Not a hospital bed. We just went with adjustable. I went with a split king so that, I can adjust my settings and it doesn't disturb Steve while he's sleeping and vice versa. So it also allows him to prop up to watch TV. I'm like, ooh, TV, okay. We see our priorities right now for you. But yeah, so I actually have to get an MRI on my wound because it it actually has gotten deeper, probably about it was at 2.1 last week,
Hmm.
2.1 centimeters deep. And this week he measured and I'm at 3.1 centimeters deep. Yeah,
Ooh.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so he's really worried that it would cause or that I've now gotten a bone infection. So that's why he ordered the MRI. So
Oh,
now I have to wait to hear from them to get my MRI to make sure there's nothing wrong with my leg, like seriously wrong. And if there is, then I have to go to the infectious wound doctor. So yeah, I'm not excited about that, but it is what it is, and
yeah.
I'm here for the long haul, whatever it takes.
Christy, that
I
really
have.
sucks. And I'm so sorry that that's happening. Like, that just sucks. There's no other way to really put it, right?
Yeah, there's
I
no
mean,
other way. It
throw
just
throw a
sucks.
swear word in there if you want to. You
No, it's fine.
know,
And now, like, I'm again battling with insurance because they've denied my wound back. Yeah. So like we had to, yesterday was a busy day. I had to go to the hospital and, get it straightened out with them because they were saying the wound vac play or the insurance is saying they were missing all this information in order to approve said wound vac. I was like, do you want to see the hole in the back of my leg? Because I'll show it to you. No problem. They're
And it's
like,
getting
no, not
deeper.
necessary. Yeah, not necessary. I'm like, whatever. Well, you guys deal with one of these and then you talk to me about medical necessity and stuff like that. So whatever. And I told him, I was like, this is just fucking bullshit that you guys keep denying shit. I was like, I'm done with it. You guys are the worst insurance because we went from United Healthcare Choice and then his insurance changed us and now we're on United Healthcare. It's a new division called Surest. I'm like, there's nothing surest about it. So yeah, it's just been a headache, one headache after another. So I'm just waiting to hear um, what they're going to cover as far as my hospital stay. So I guess we'll find out. So just documenting everything so that if and when the time comes, we have to start a lawsuit, then I have everything documented.
Mm. So, um, I have your. I have the T-shirt for the wounds, Christy.
Oh, do you?
Um, yeah, yeah. When I was doing a lot more mountain biking, I used to get wounds on my shins all the time, and I had one like that just didn't heal, and I was actually over in the UK with my closest buddy and his kids who were all docs, and they took a look at it, and they said you got to get it attended to as soon as you get back. And then I finished up having to go to wound care for like a month, and it was the same thing. It was very deep, and it was getting deeper and what have you. But in the end, they gave me stuff to put on it. I think the silver stuff. I forget what it's called, silver something or the other.
Silver
Silver
Sylvadine,
sword.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on like
Sulfasilvadine is what sulfadine. Yeah.
yeah. I've seen it on our like silver sword or something like that. My neighbor across the street, she's a nurse, and anytime he gets any type of um, wound or anything like that, he swears by the silver, which is great. Um, no, like any like wounds that I've gotten, um, my wound doc, she was very much into the honey.
Yeah,
So
they gave me that too. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. They gave me the pads that have the honey on it. That's right.
yeah, so she was very much into the honey.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I forgot about those. Yeah, yeah. Um,
see, mine is like a tube of like honey, and I just put it on the wound
And you
and
put it
kept.
on. These were gauze pads that had the honey stuff infused on them that I just put on the wound and then just taped it on.
Yeah,
Um,
that stuff's a miracle. You like she said, yeah, we're just gonna use honey,
mhm.
and I was like, I've got like a honey bear jar at my house. She goes, not that kind of honey. Like
Yeah,
it's she goes, it's honey, but it's got a lot of why can't I say the word? Microbial,
Microbial. Hmm.
yeah, microbial. Yeah, what she said, um, additives in it. And I was like, sure. She's like, well, she's like, they use the honey because yeah, it has its own healing benefit, but it also sticks well to the wounds. It
yep,
doesn't like slide off or anything like that.
yeah,
Like say like
yeah.
a Neosporin, that's more of like a petroleum. So I said, okay, well if it works, it works. Just do what you need to do. But this wound is just way too big to fill it with honey.
Oh,
I'd be
man, I'm so
using a
sorry.
tube.
It's just, I know how it's not comfortable, and I really get it. So, but it'll heal.
Yeah,
If they're on it, it'll heal. And where is it on your leg?
it's in the calf area, like the
Oh,
lower, like
yeah,
if you see, let's see. So that's my calf area,
yeah.
and it's like down. I don't know if you can see my hand. There
On
it
the
is.
back.
Yeah, it's like the side back right down
Yeah,
here.
no, I got it. I mean,
It,
that's my issue was it was right on the shin, and so there's
ugh,
no there's no um there's no flesh there to help it to heal. It was like
yeah,
right on the bone, and so it make
yeah,
and when you get a wound that's like very close to bone, it makes it a little harder to heal.
yeah.
But my thought, truly my thoughts are with you because I really get it. I really get it.
Well, thank you. I just know it's going to be a long process.
Yeah.
I was really hoping to get into like aquatic therapy this year, but that's not going to happen with this wound. We don't want to introduce any
Oh yeah,
chemicals
the
or anything
risk.
like that to it to
Yeah,
risk it to make it feel worse or hurt
yeah,
worse. Or I'm like, I don't
yeah.
know if it can hurt worse, but okay. But
How's
right
your
now,
swelling with your legs doing? Or is it
it's up and down. So, I mean, it's down right now, but it's up and down. Um, so if it's not like maintained, swells up really quick. My legs swell really quick and they become really heavy, and it's really hard to do anything once they swell. So,
And
and
do you have
that's,
some kind of compression machine at home?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but obviously I can't wear it with my wound. That would be
yeah,
way too painful, even at the
yeah.
lowest setting of, because I can change the pressure. Like
Hmm.
right now, it's set at to to do waves through my leg.
Hmm.
Um, it's set to do at 45 mmHg, and I think I can take it down to 10. But even the 10 would be way,
Yeah.
way too harsh on it. Because right now, like even relaxing my leg on my on the mattress or anything like that, I'm in pain. So, and then I have to adjust my body just right so
Yeah.
that it doesn't hurt as bad.
Hmm.
So that's been fun too. So I haven't been getting really good sleep because the pain kicks in, and it nothing's really touching the pain because right now I have 5 milligram oxys. They used to help, now they really don't anymore. And, the wound doctor was like, just, you know, try not to overuse the oxy or the painkillers that you're like, because that will also slow down the healing of the wound. And I'm like, well, good thing I'm not like an every 4 hours oxy popper. I was like, I only use it as needed. So, I mean, I was
Still tricky to
discharged,
find that right balance, hey? Yeah.
right? And it was when I was discharged, they wrote a script for 20 oxys to be taken every 6 hours. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to live on oxys. I refuse. But, I've just been taking them at night when it's so bad that I can't go to sleep. But I still have, out of the 20 since I was discharged almost a month ago, I still have, like, I think like 4 or 5 of the oxys left. So that's just, I'm just not a big pain pill person anyway. So um,
Are you having
I
problem with constipation and stuff with taking
no,
narcotics? That's good.
no. Um, so yeah, and now that hearing that it could slow down the healing of my leg, I'm like, there's no positive to taking any type of painkiller
Except
because,
for pain relief.
well, and even then the pain is so high, it's like, why take it if it's not going to help with the pain? And two, if it's going to slow down the healing of my wound. So I'm just like, there's no like middle road that to hop on to, you know, fix my issues. So I don't know. I just right now I'm just on um, ibuprofen, and I kind of go back and forth between ibuprofen and extra strength Tylenol. Because they're giving me the same result as an oxy would. So I try not to, like I said, I'm not a big pain pill person anyway. So I mean, if ibuprofen or Tylenol can help, I'd rather go that route than oxy, a pain pill, a narcotic. So, hi, Mike.
I've got some projects started outside.
Oh, fine. It's about that time before it gets sweltering hot out there.
Pardon me?
Said it's about that time before it starts getting too hot to be
Uh,
outside.
yeah, I might be late on that.
I'll be right back. I have to take a call. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
So Mike, did you have anything you wanted to bring up? Because we're getting to the end.
Um, not necessarily, Rick, but I'm not feeling that well, and I'll make it come back before our next meeting.
Okay. Okay, but if there's anything on your mind, bring it up right now because we got some time and we can talk about it.
So I'm good. Thank you, though.
Okay. Okay. And Miss Carmen, I think you saw, but I found your trial and I put it in the chat window, so you
Oh,
can
okay.
just you can click on the link. It'll open up in your browser. You can look at the trial later.
Okay, great. Thank you.
The only thing is, interestingly enough, it doesn't list a British Columbia site. That's probably because you said they just added it. But one thing we've also found out is that the people who put whoever it is, the principal investigator or the companies, they don't keep these trial sites up to date.
Hmm.
So, you can't take them as gospel.
Thanks, Rick.
So, Christy, you missed very interesting discussion early on, but Carmen is starting a trial for primary progressive
Oh
with
no.
BTK inhibitor, with a BTK inhibitor.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah,
And
it's my second study actually, because my first one being on the ocrelizumab, I got onto it before it was even approved. I'm not sure if it was approved in the States, but it definitely wasn't approved in Canada for use with primary progressive. So,
Okay.
So
Well,
you
I'm
may be
excited to
having
hear.
the active drug by end of June, Carmen. Is that correct?
yeah, so by the beginning of July, I'll definitely be on some kind of medication, placebo or drug.
Well, I'll be interested to hear how that turns out.
Yeah,
are
I'll
you
keep
are
you guys
you
informed.
primary progressive, Christy?
No, I'm secondary progressive.
Or you're secondary? Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
our
I have
next
to get going,
meeting,
you guys.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
our
Hmm.
next meeting is actually in 3 weeks, would be May 14th. That'd be
Yeah.
8:30 Eastern time. And then 5 weeks would be the May 28th, the one at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. So thanks for everyone for coming to the afternoon one. It was, like I said, so strange to see people during the middle of the day versus the end of the day, but I loved it. It was nice.
Thank you,
And all
Carmen.
the old faces that managed to make it to the evening ones made it
Carmen,
to the daytime one too.
Well,
It was fun.
and I was determined. I was like, I need to go to the daytime. And then, of course, my first physical therapy, they called me and they said, "Can you come tomorrow?" Sure, what time? 11:45. I'm like, okay. So I got home from PT and I hopped on. So I'm
That
glad
is
Great
to
the
to see
feel
you.
some.
downside of having it
Yeah,
in the during the day. Is a lot of us will have appointments and other things that go on, but we
yeah,
can. So hopefully
it
we can bring in
happens.
people that can't come to the evening because they're too tired or busy. But thank you
Yeah,
all for coming today. It was great seeing all your
it
faces.
was great
Yes.
seeing you guys too.
We'll
Good
see you in about
night.
3
Bye,
weeks.
guys.
All right, we'll
See you in a
see you in
couple of
Bye,
three
weeks.
weeks.
everybody.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.